What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Wow. Do I have a ton of news today? I've got quite a bit. Just as the intro was playing, there was some breaking news, and that bumped us up to 11 tabs open today. So, needless to say, a fair amount of news. Things are certainly getting interesting, and you know, the inevitable is happening as far as Ukraine is concerned. It is what it is. Of course, that's not stopping the United States from digging in and sending them more stuff. We'll be covering that, among other things. No other updates that I can think of to tell you about, like as far as we're concerned. Got the tent down today, got it put away. Took a little extra time and care today when I put it up. And I just looked and found the most efficient, both in doing it and in space, to fold that tent. And looked at it a little bit, looked at a couple of different options with it, and pretty incredible as to how much I've got it packed down, more than I had ever done before. And I never had a problem before getting it back in its bag or anything like that. But I mean, there's like room to spare now. It's pretty incredible. So just kind of a notable thing. You know, this isn't something that you would take bugging out. This is the Coleman, so it's a little big for that. Now, if you could, absolutely take it bugging out. I'm not saying don't if you could. We don't have a pickup truck or anything like that. We don't have a car. We don't have a vehicle. So, if we had to bug out, yeah, it wouldn't be going with us. So, we'd be pretty screwed if we have to bug out. But we'll manage. Daddy didn't raise no fool, and I'm very resourceful. I'm pretty quick to coming up with solutions to problems. So, not scared, Joe. For one, I don't think we're going to have to bug out. There's many reasons why I say that. But if it would happen, we wouldn't be on bikes. We wouldn't be on foot. Chariots would await. I'll put it that way. I would just, from just going by the news and stuff like that I'm seeing, keep at what you're doing, keep it getting ready. I wouldn't be necessarily alarmed. The thing that I'm really watching closer right now is China, and I'm also watching North Korea, seeing what they're doing as far as this satellite launch. Because again, if they go to put up a satellite and let's say Japan takes it out of the sky, I don't know where that might lead. That could be an instant major clusterfuck. I think it probably would be, because I don't think Kim Jong-un would hesitate to launch on Japan if Japan took out their satellite. So I think that might be real quick a deal breaker. Kim Jong-un is unpredictable. It's just like Iran, unpredictable. You don't want to poke at unpredictable too much. Let's see. I guess I ought to just jump on into it. I told you that we had breaking news as I was awaiting the intro to finish. And Israel conducts airstrikes near Damascus, says Syrian media. Anytime I see strikes in Damascus, it always tweaks my ear. This here just not a lot of information yet. It says a soldier was wounded in an Israeli missile strike on the Damascus countryside. Syria's state-run news agency, SANA, reported in the early hours of Wednesday, citing military source. According to the report, the missiles were fired from the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights at several targets to the southwest of the Syrian capital. The country's air defenses responded to the threat, SANA said. So, anytime I hear about stuff going on near Damascus, it definitely gets my attention. So, let's see. And the title was absolutely not clickbait. Came across this article earlier, and I was like, wow, okay. And this isn't the first time, by the way. I've actually covered articles here before. This is that I can recall of since I've been doing news, the Watchman news. I think this is number 3 that I've actually covered happening. So, not the first one. I don't even believe the second one. I'm pretty sure this is the third. Not a whole lot to this report. Just, it's bizarre. Mourners were left stunned when a woman knocked on her coffin during her own wake. A 76-year-old woman in Ecuador was declared dead at a hospital over the weekend after a possible stroke and cardiac arrest. But during the wake, Bella Montoya was hitting the coffin trying to get out. She was taken back to the hospital. Her current condition is unknown. The Ministry of Public Health said a state investigation is now underway. Further details were not available. So, wow. That's freaky. And like I say, this is, I'm pretty sure, the third one that I've covered since I've been doing news. So, and I remember stuff like this, because this is just bizarre. This is the stuff nightmares are made of. I wonder if she's going to prefer being cremated after this. I mean, I don't mean to, but it kind of makes you wonder. Then again, maybe she wouldn't, because think if that was the deal. If she was supposed to be that would suck. That would suck. Banging on the furnace doors or shutting it. Let's see. I hear you there, Kevin Sawyer. I hear you there. I think we all have little cues, that we're kind of looking for. When it comes to different events happening. I definitely pay attention to Damascus. But to be honest, I mean, that is a clear indicator for me. But there's other ones that come far before that I'm really watching a close eye on. There's a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff that's actually been fulfilled that people don't realize it's been fulfilled, because it doesn't necessarily have to do. Like, for instance, I've heard people say, well, nobody's chopping the heads off of Christians. Well, maybe not in the United States, but take that sentiment somewhere else, like the Middle East or whatever, where Christians absolutely do get their heads lopped off. It is happening, just not here. So we have to be very careful on that. I know I have a friend that he uses the bit about the bread costing a day's wages, right? And I keep trying to explain to him that doesn't mean here. That doesn't mean it's a global thing. That doesn't mean it's here. That you have to look at the world. And is there any place in the world to where a loaf of bread costs a day's wages? So you have to look at it that way, but then you also have to have the discernment to understand that just because things like that are happening doesn't mean that the all-encompassing end is on its way. But I don't want to deter from that notion because I think that there's enough indicators that are happening right now, especially in the sun and the moon and the stars, that I do believe we're there. I do believe we're there. I don't think like we're full blown in yet. I don't think we've started tribulation yet or anything like that. But I think we're on a very fast path to it. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, the Euphrates. Absolutely. Yep. There are so many signs. So many signs. And, you know, I do my best to try to cast away anything I shouldn't be paying attention to, because the Father, he loves to put stuff right in front of our face and hide it at the same time. So there are so many things that I've been like, wow. I look at it and like things that have happened that I look at and it happened in a totally different way that I foresaw, but completely makes sense. I mean, it's wild. It is really, really wild. That's like the whole thing over, oh gosh, and I can't remember off the top of my head what verse it is now, but I'd covered it extensively during the whole COVID thing, because, well, it said right in the Bible, it warned about the thing in the arm. I mean, it flat out warned about it, and it talked about the merchants of the different nations and all that. And I mean, it was really accurate as to what was happening during the whole COVID debacle. And I would have never in a million years have thought that would have played out the way that it actually did. But we saw it happen firsthand right in front of our eyes. And that is most I am positive that particular event was pointing directly at COVID, because there are so many things about that verse that fit. I agree. We are in a massive world of distractions. And that's why you don't see me covering, you know, what's the one thing that everybody's covering today? It's not even up on my list of stuff to talk to you about. I don't even have Trump up there. Not even up there anywhere in those 11 tabs. So, it just, it is what it is. I think that's one of the big distractions going on. But just wait. Let's go ahead and start uncovering some stuff. This here says Ukraine has lost hundreds of pieces of Western supplied hardware, says Putin. It goes on to say Ukrainian forces have already lost dozens of tanks and hundreds of armored vehicles in their attacks on Russian positions, President Vladimir Putin told war correspondents on Tuesday. Kiev's troops have so far failed to achieve success on any of the fronts in their long-touted counteroffensive, he added. Now, I've heard that they've had, in a spot or two, that they've had a minor gain, but nothing spectacular. Russian positions have faced attacks from 4 major directions, the president said during a meeting at the Kremlin. He added that Ukrainian reserves, including those equipped with Western-supplied military hardware, had also been thrown into the fray. However, the offensive has led to massive losses in personnel and material for Kiev, Putin stated. Ukraine has lost at least 160 tanks and 360 armored vehicles, and the military hardware destroyed by Russian troops accounts for between 25% and 30% of all Western military equipment supplied to Ukraine, the president estimated. Now, I had not that long ago had said that this exact thing was going to happen. They were gonna pony up for their offensive, and Russia was going to walk in and just boom, 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 boom. That's exactly what's going on. Now, there is some argument, a little bit of argument as to, whether they've destroyed so many pieces of hardware without being there. None of us really know. I mean, it's one of those war things. You can't really rely solely on the news that you get from any side. I do believe that RT has been pretty fair. From what I've seen, they've been pretty fair. A little bit. Like here, and again, Putin said it, so they can't not. They have to put it in there. It's Putin's words, not theirs. As far as the claims as to how many and all that, but it goes on to say there are also losses that we do not see, which are a result of long-range, high-precision strikes. Putin said, claiming that Ukraine's actual losses are likely higher than the figures he had given regarding personnel. Putin said Russian casualties were 10 times lower than among Ukrainian forces. Now, see all of that stuff? It's stuff that both sides are going to say in a war. I think he's probably a lot more close to accurate than what Ukraine would be, making the same kind of claims, but so just as quick as Putin can knock him off of the battlefield, the Pentagon is saying, well, we'll give them back. We gotcha. This is insane. As the Pentagon will announce on Tuesday a new presidential drawdown of its stockpiles in support of Ukraine's fight against Russia, Voice of America has reported, citing anonymous officials. The $325 million worth of equipment will include Stryker and Bradley armored vehicles that can replace those damaged and destroyed in the Ukrainian counteroffensive currently underway, defense sources told the U.S. government-funded outlet on Monday. And it's funny because I've got another article related to this. The upcoming aid package is set to become the 40th of its kind. 40th. Now, wouldn't it have been cool if they'd have been so worried about making sure you were taken care of during the whole COVID lockdown bogus crap? I mean, think of the trillions of dollars that have been spent already, right, on Ukraine that could have really did a bang-up job at helping out the American people. But no, you're not worth as much as Biden's energy deals and Biden's, biolab deals and all of that stuff. You're not more special than that. So, sorry. Absolutely insane. That in addition to new armored vehicles, the new package will include munitions for National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems, or NASAMS, and High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, HIMARS, the sources said. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, are visiting Brussels this week to attend a series of NATO meetings. One of the gatherings will be of the so-called Ukraine Defense Contact Group, a key vehicle for coordinating weapons supplies to Kiev by Washington and its allies. And goes on talking about last week and the allocation of an additional $2.1 billion in weaponry. This, like I say, it is mind-blowing. But right here, they tell you about how, we're gonna take care of them. We got their back, no problem. And I'm sure there are people raising hell about this. I guarantee there are. Probably not many, but there are people. Now I'm talking about people in government. all of a sudden in the Pentagon backsteps, right? Oh, well, we're not saying that we're aware that we had a bunch of shit get wiped out. So anyway, that's what this is. It says Pentagon's unable to confirm Ukraine's Bradley losses. And the U.S. military has refused to confirm the destruction of American-made armored vehicles during Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russia. The statement came after Moscow released videos of charred M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles abandoned by Kiev's troops. Yeah, that's a good question. That is a very good question as to who's going to have our back. My question is who's going to have our as in the citizens' back, not our as in the government's back. My concern is who's going to have our back. So, and no, she doesn't. She lives about 3 feet away from me. We're about 30 miles east of St. Louis. So, let's see. She's in the back real quick. The dryer buzzed, so I'm sure she's swapping out laundry. Let's see. Fun. I don't really see... Oh, wait. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit here. It says, I've seen the reports, but I can't corroborate some of the video and imagery coming out of that, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh told reporters on Tuesday. I just wouldn't be able to confirm the reports, at least what we're seeing from the Russians. Tuesday's announcement that the U.S. will be sending more Bradley and Stryker armored vehicles to Kiev as part of a $325 million package drawn from the Pentagon stockpiles, was not a response to battlefield losses, but planned in advance, Singh insisted. This is what I'm saying. They're walking back on the admitting to knowing about the losses. So, your previous statement. On which one? What country's got our back? Yeah, I commented on that. I have no idea. And again, if that question's asked, to me, there's two questions there that it could be. It could be either the government's back or our back. Not one and the same. Oh, wait, that was Leo. Man, I need to, I don't know what I need to do. I think it's a move to weaken us farther by give us money equipment. Dude, I have no idea what the hell. I'm seeing different names and everything else. I need to step away from the bong. Let's see. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. Dude, I swear to God, I read what you said probably 4 or 5 times, and I swear I saw Kevin's name in front of your statement. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Kevin's previous statements. I'm like, well, which one's he talking about? And all of a sudden, it slapped me in the face that it was you. It's weird. I don't know. I've seen that happen actually before on YouTube though, to where the chat will it'll just start screwing up, and it will show a different person's name as to who's saying stuff. We've had it happen a number of times. You refresh the chat and it's fine. I don't know if that happened or if I'm just losing it. Maybe a little bit of both. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think they're doing it to draw down the weapons. They're doing it to draw us down financially. They're doing it to basically weaken us. That pretty much says it all. I really don't think that the stuff that's going on in the world is as we see it. I think that's a song and dance that we're being given. I think all these leaders are working together. Or at least the big ones. The big ones. They've got a lot of the little countries conned. And then they've got other little countries scared, so. Let's see. Yeah, this just goes on to why they're not certain. I'm sure they know. They can just check on the OnStar. That would be funny if it did have OnStar. I'm sure, though, it's got some type of a tracking system. I guarantee it. Washington set to give Kiev depleted uranium rounds, says Wall Street Journal. Now, I'm not sure that we had given them depleted uranium rounds prior to this. I know other countries have. I don't remember exactly which ones did. But I do know that there was some country that was giving them depleted uranium rounds. And now apparently we're going to do the same. It says U.S. is poised to greenlight shipments of depleted uranium shells to Ukraine despite concerns that such munitions could have a dramatic negative effect on the environment and public health, the Wall Street Journal reported on Tuesday, citing sources. According to one senior U.S. official who spoke to the outlet, there appear to be no major obstacles to approving the ammunition, with internal deliberations over the matter said to have been ongoing for several weeks. The Pentagon sees the controversial shells as being suitable for the M1 Abrams tanks promised by Washington to Ukraine earlier this year, but expected to arrive only this fall, the report says. It added that this type of ammo has very high armor-piercing capabilities and could give Kiev a boost in tank battles with Russia. It says, however, some officials in U.S. President Joe Biden's administration have reportedly pointed out that the use of such ammunition could pose serious environmental and health risks, which is exactly why they want to use it. It blows my mind that this is even allowed to begin with. And I don't know, maybe it's not supposed to be. I know there's a lot of stuff they do they're not supposed to do. You want to see the real crazy stuff, you should see the stuff that's banned by the Geneva Convention that they do to protesters. Pretty much everything they're doing with the tear gas and all that stuff, that's banned by the Geneva Convention. They won't allow that on a battlefield. But they'll allow law enforcement to do it to you on the streets of your own country, demanding your own rights. That's messed up. That is messed up. I thought I would definitely talk about this article, because I think it's something to pay attention to. Belarus names conditions for use of nukes. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has said he made a friendly request for Russia to store some of its tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus as a deterrent. He stated that he would not hesitate to use them if his country is attacked. That was my request. Russia didn't impose it on me, the Belarusian leader said on Tuesday, as cited by national media. Nobody has ever gone to war with the nuclear state, and I don't want anyone to go to war with us. Is there such a threat? Yes, I have to counter this threat. Moscow announced its decision to place nuclear weapons in Belarus in March. It argued it would be no different from what the U.S. has been doing for decades by keeping parts of its nuclear arsenal in non-nuclear nations such as Turkey, Belgium, or Italy. The U.S. and its allies have disputed that position and accused Russia of recklessness and resorting to nuclear blackmail. Russian President Vladimir Putin mentioned the arrangement during a meeting with Lukashenko earlier this month, stating that the preparation of infrastructure on Belarusian soil was in its final leg. It could be completed on July 7th or 8th, Putin said, indicating a week-long delay compared to the initial projection. Lukashenko told the media on Tuesday that the only grounds for the weapon to be used would be an attack on Belarus. God forbid I will have to make a decision to use this kind of weapon in our time, but there will be no hesitation if there is aggression against us, he said. Minsk has accused NATO members bordering Belarus, particularly Poland, of keeping an excessive number of troops in the positions that could indicate preparation for an attack. He has also accused Ukraine of staging several provocations near the Belarusian border. So, I find that very likely, that claim that he's the one that requested it. And I get it. If I was a smaller nation and I had issues with nations right there on my doorstep, as he does, I get it. Makes sense. An armed society is a polite society, correct? That includes nuclear weapons. A key African economy to abandon dollar in trade with BRICS, says Reuters. This is stuff we really need to keep a close eye on. Every country that switches over to BRICS is a major hit on the validity of the U.S. dollar, not only as a global reserve currency, but also as a currency in and of itself. I do firmly believe that we are very shortly going to witness a currency collapse. I have no doubt. It's kind of bizarre to watch it, because what are they going to do? There's nothing they can do. If the global banking system decides to remove the U.S.'s global reserve currency, we're done as far as the U.S. dollar. It's not the first time that stuff like that's going on, except it never works out in our interest. Of course, the Great Depression, that was their solution, was to come up with another currency that wasn't gold-backed, mind you. It was absolutely bullshit-backed. And so, apparently, you can only blow your bullshit bubble so big, because they've blown the bullshit bubble so big it's about to burst. And so I guess they need to blow another bullshit bubble. That pretty much, I think that would qualify me to be a financial investor. But, I mean, you get where I'm coming from. This is not good stuff. It goes on to say, Egypt is planning to shift away from the U.S. dollar in mutual trade with several member states of the BRICS economic bloc. Egyptian Supply Minister Ali Mosey said on Monday, as quoted by Reuters. According to, how's that pronounced? Moselhi? I'm not sure. Moselhi? Egypt is seeking to use local currencies to pay for its imports from India, China, and Russia, key members of the BRICS group, which also includes Brazil and South Africa. Nothing of the sort has been implemented, but there are discussions so that we can trade in local currencies of countries like India, Russia, or China, Moselhi told the agency. The BRICS group makes up 40% of the world's population and almost a third of the global economy. The bloc members have recently outpaced the G7 in terms of economic growth. In April, 19 countries expressed interest in joining BRICS, which is gearing up to hold its 15th annual summit in South Africa over August 22nd through the 24th. Starts on my son's birthday. There are two things, now three things for August 22nd. Not only is that my oldest son's birthday, apparently it's the beginning of this meeting, and it is also, and you all might find this interesting, it is also the date of release for the fourth book in the 1 Second After series by, I knew that would happen to me. It will come there. Trust me, it will. Oh, wow. That's blowing my mind. Somebody's going to type it before I can figure it out. William Fortune. See, I told you it would come. William Fortune. So, book number 4 in the 1 Second After series releases on August 22nd. So, if you followed that series, if you're a fan of that series, might want to remember that date. Obviously, I have. I told you, it's near photographic memory thing. It's stupid, whatever. But that is one of those things I filed in my brain that, like, hey, I want to remember that because I really like the book series. Let's see. And then I have this article to do with the same ordeal here. Macron asked for invitation to BRICS summit, says media. French President Emmanuel Macron has asked South African President Cyril Ramaphosa for an invitation to the upcoming BRICS summit in Pretoria, French newspaper L'Opinion reported on Monday. Macron's recent attempts to win over his African counterparts have fallen flat. He raised the possibility of attending the summit during a phone call with Ramaphosa earlier this week. With Ramaphosa earlier this week. L'Opinion stated, citing sources by the Elysee Palace. I'm probably butchering these names. According to one well-informed source, Ramaphosa was non-committal. Presence at the summit was mentioned during the conversation between the two leaders, but Pretoria gave no indication of whether or not to extend this meeting to other international leaders, the source said. Blue, please. If Macron were to attend the summit, he would be the first leader of a G7 nation to do so. BRICS leaders and Macron apparently share a desire to overhaul the global financial and geopolitical order, with Macron hosting a conference in Paris next week aimed at overhauling the financial system to better benefit the developing world. Ramaphosa is due to attend the conference, and a cordial meeting between him and Macron could set the stage for the French president to make history in Pretoria. So, is France maybe going to go the direction? It's probably pretty possible, because I've been seeing France do a lot of things that, well, to be quite honest, seems a bit independent from the United States, and I don't blame them for doing it. If I was any of these nations, I would not be listening to a damn thing coming from our government. Not at all. And for obvious reasons, I would think. This was a bit shocking to me when I saw this headline come in, because I really did seriously feel that we have reached a point to where there was no line to be crossed. There was never a line anywhere that could be crossed on this particular subject. But apparently, thankfully, I was wrong. White House bans trans influencer for disrespectful nudity. So apparently, this is a he/she. just going to tell it as it is. I mean, I'm just trying to report here. It needs to be accurate. It's a he-she. And so apparently the he-she had, I guess, bared a breast, but cupped them, covered them, right? But the article said something about there were a couple of other activists that came up to her side with bare breasts. And so the interesting thing is I guess they have banned not only this woman, but some others from ever attending White House events in the future. This lady goes and makes a video. I don't know what platform she had it on or whatever. I have no idea. But she makes a video and she talks about how, she supports the whole free the nipple thing and all that. And I'm still stunned. I'm honestly still stunned. This is the last thing that I would have thought would have drawn criticism from this presidential administration. Somebody showing a nipple, I would have thought would have been praised by them. I'm confused. I'm going to be honest. I'm really confused on this. I don't know what to think. I really don't. It seems like there must be something more here that we're not made privy of. So, who knows? Oh, yeah, good. Kevin, thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, the presidential administration of Joseph Robinette Biden, I want to make sure I get it all in there, that piece of crap, put the pride flag front and center. And if you could tell me where that was again, Kevin, where those flags were, I'd appreciate it. I don't know exactly where those flags were. But the center flag, which is always supposed to be the American flag, the center flag, which is higher than the rest, right? Always supposed to be the American flag. And instead of the American flag being there, they had the pride flag there with an American flag on each side of it. And that was so disgusting, in my opinion. And it would be any flag. It doesn't have to be about the pride flag. It could be any flag. That is such a clear, direct violation of our code. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. In fact, in my opinion, he should be hauled off and charged with treason for that. And when I say that, I really don't feel like it's coming from an extremist type of attitude. That is the commander-in-chief. And to disrespect our flag on that level, in that manner, I don't think is a forgivable thing for a leader of the so-called free world. I always say that because, it gets me when I hear people talk about the U.S. and how we're the freest nation, and we're not. I don't know where people get this notion that we are the freest place on earth, because we are not the freest place on earth. Not even close. Your kid can't go and sell lemonade in the front yard without 2 or 3 different frickin' agencies showing up. Police department, the health department, it's a nightmare. We are not in a free country. That's a bunch of bullshit. We're far, far from it. It doesn't matter how many times we lie to ourselves, it doesn't change the facts. We're not in a free nation. I know people say, well, you do this and you can't do that. You know how many countries you can speak your mind in right now, today? Most of them. It's not some big major freedom that was just sanctified for people in the United States. And I guess that's what frustrates me when I hear that, because we could never strive. If you say we're the tippy top of the top, right? How do we strive to be better? Right? So if we take a sober look at things and we realize we're not the tippy top of the top, then maybe we can work a little harder to get a little closer to that top. And freedom is an area that the United States needs to really get to working on in order to get back up to that tippy top, because we are not even remotely. I swear to God, we're going to have to get a permit to fart before long. I mean, it is ridiculous how much we are not a free country. How many permits do they have? How many inspections do they have? It's just mind-blowing how not free of a country we are. There are people that would go to jail for collecting water from the roof, from the rainfall. There are people that would go to jail for doing so, and people that have gone to jail for doing so. There are people that have gone to jail for taking their house off grid and letting solar panels power their home instead of the grid power. People have gone to jail. A Marine, I believe from Florida, if I'm not mistaken, or Georgia, somewhere in that area, had went to jail over that. I mean, I know I got off on a little tangent, a little rant, but man, it gets me when I keep hearing about how we're in this free country. I'm like, where the fuck is it free at? Because I can spew crap out my mouth? That's not freedom. That's not freedom. And in fact, that can be used to take away freedom rather easily. And it's been being used to take away our freedoms. Just because you can speak stuff doesn't mean you're free. Let's see. Where's the House Speaker on this? Are you talking about Kevin McCarthy? And the other, and I guess that's who you're talking about. And on the flag thing, I would assume the topic you're talking about. I have no idea. I don't trust any of them. And if they're able to get in those positions, like House Speaker and stuff like that, I write them off. I write them off because they'll never let anybody in those positions that are actually going to do good. That's just the way it is. I mean, the Good Old Boy Network owns our government. Yep, exactly. That is the exact time period we are in right now. Absolutely. And for those that may not see the chat, he said we are in the time where good is evil and evil is good. Absolutely. You know, and that's why I don't care when people want to throw me under the bus and talk about how horrible of a person I am because of the way I approach this and because of the way that I may speak of other content creators and stuff like that. Look, the Father didn't command me to be a bitch. The Father commanded me to stand firm. The Father warned me about what He would do to me if I was lukewarm. All of these things are really clear in this good book right here. Very clear. Very clear. And I made a post on Facebook today about idols and about how many idols people have because holy cow. Let's see, what did I say here? I said so many people are so eager to have idols. What am I missing? Sports, entertainment, academics, economics, etc., so many idols. If you have a single idol, and or if your yes doesn't always mean yes and your no doesn't always mean no, you need to take time to reflect. I see church leaders propping up athletes more than I see them prop up the Messiah. And they will justify their idolatry. They will claim it's okay while they mislead you. Use the term mislead very, very literal. Literal here. If you want to really get down to the brass tacks of the word, get rid of your church. Churches and religions hold back people's spirituality, and even more so, that personal connection to the Father. God did not command us to find a man to connect you. He wants us to go straight to Him. So that's what I posted on Facebook 13 hours ago, along with James 1:8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's the truth. It's the truth. I see so many people fall for idols and for idol worship and all that. You have to look at it from a sober, realistic point of view. Let's say, for instance, the people that were getting rid of their stuff, or the people that are boycotting businesses because of this reason or that reason. Those people are participating in idolatry. That's what they're doing. They are putting other people before God's word. What would God say how we should deal with all this stuff that's going on? See, that's where we need to be focused. That's what we need to look at. You know, somebody, y'all know I'm not a fan of the whole homosexual lifestyle thing. But I don't have anything against homosexuals. I don't hate them. I don't even not like them. Whatever. Two things I request. Don't force the bullshit on me. Don't put it in my face nonstop, because regardless of what you want to think, it's not normal, and I'm not going to sit there and placate to you that it is. Point blank. I choose what's normal for me. Nobody else. And I will let this guide that. So that's number one. But the other thing with it is, not only will I not let somebody dictate to me what's normal and or what's moral or anything like that, but I'm not going to let them change this word. I'm not going to let them do it. And I tell you what, that really wakes a lot of people up these days. When they start to realize just how much of the world that they are accepting into their lives. And that's why I live the life I do. I live a very odd life, folks. I don't live the normal life. I don't talk to the amount of people that people normally do. I don't. I keep my I honestly I just try to keep to myself. I do a lot of keeping to myself. I want to follow this. That's what I want. I just want to follow this. That's all. And many in society make that a bit hard. And so, just in my opinion, I just stay away from them to the best of my ability. Because again, this is my priority, this is my goal. And it's hard to get that when everybody's like, oh, well, you gotta bow down to this, you gotta buy this, it's, you can't have both, But yeah, it's what you're saying, leave the children alone. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Leave the kids alone. Period. Don't put it in my face. Leave the kids out of it. And stop trying to tell people it's normal. Because it's not. Plain and simple. It's not. And most of it can be rooted back to mental illness. So just because somebody has a mental illness, they don't have the right to go and force that mental illness upon others. Let's see. Biden spokeswoman broke the law, says a regulator. And I thought this was just amazing because I thought, wow, really? And how is it that all these others aren't breaking the law? So, here's the long and short of it. It says U.S. President Joe Biden's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, violated a law prohibiting government employees from engaging in partisan politics and has received a warning letter from the Office of Special Counsel, a nonprofit that filed a complaint against her, revealed on Tuesday. I think I might have found what makes it okay, or what makes the difference. Says, Protect the Public's Trust, run by former Trump administration official Michael Chamberlain, had objected to Jean Pierre's use of the phrase, mega MAGA Republican officials who don't believe in the rule of law, ahead of the 2022 midterms. In doing so, they claim she violated the Hatch Act by using her official authority for the purpose of interfering with or affecting the result of an election. And I got to thinking of that, but I found the difference, I think. I got to thinking of that. I'm like, well, then what makes it different for any of the people that do the, endorsement for the other candidates, right? Because that's kind of doing the same thing. That's using their official authority for the purpose of interfering or affecting the result of an election. That's exactly what that's doing. That's the intent of the whole act. However, they are elected officials, not government employees. So I think that's what makes the difference there. So, I think. All right. The last tab I have open here, I'm not going to talk to you about. What I will tell you is that you go to twitter.com/the Watchman News, and I had posted this at some point today. I will say the headline says, it says post-COVID vaccination syndrome. What do we know? And that's all I'm going to say here. Okay? But and I'll put it in right now. I'll put this link to this article in the chat, just in case somebody does want it right now. There you go. Otherwise, if somebody's watching later and can't see the chat or whatever the case, just go to our Twitter feed. It's there. Insanity. I mean, it's getting me. It's like, man, we have sat here now, and election stuff, now they're going back on their restrictions for the election stuff that people tried calling out. They went back on some of the restrictions for the COVID stuff that people were calling out. Yeah, I've heard a whole hell of a lot about reparations over the past damn 5-6 years. Where the hell's the reparations for the people that were ostracized for trying to tell the truth? Not that I'm actually looking for any. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but I'm waiting to get 5 million emails a day in a couple of years saying, you may or may have been affected by online censorship. I'm like, yeah, good, because I'd never been to Camp Lejeune. I don't know why the hell they keep sending me the emails. I wasn't the jarhead. He's the oldest brother. Oh, man. Oops. What? Oh, I was like, what tab did I just close? Alright, I guess we can do some headlines, and then, I don't know, maybe we can run around the house and scream and stuff. Judy Mikovich. I don't even like the name. Reminds me of my high school art teacher. Pastrovich. Pastrovich. Yeah. I tried to get along with her. I did. I really tried to get along with her. And I really didn't take art as a blow-off class like she claimed everybody took art for. Why am I talking about that? I took art because I like envy people that can draw. I always have. I think that's the most amazing thing, the most incredible skill. And So that's why I took art. I wanted to try to learn how to do that. But no, I took it as a blow-off class. I guess I wouldn't have probably believed myself either, though, to be honest. I mean, guy walks around with a camo shirt on all the time. He wears as a jacket with all kinds of crap all over it. Smells like weed all the time. Long hair with a mullet. Earrings. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have trusted myself either. Just saying. There's a lot of stuff in my life that I wouldn't change. You know, a lot of people ponder about things they would change. I do a little bit. I don't let it consume much time. But there's a lot of my life that I wouldn't have changed. Because I'll tell you what, I did a whole hell of a lot of living in my way back then. I didn't have the opportunity to travel and live in those types of ways, but I lived in other ways. I really wouldn't change most of it. All right, headlines. Oh, she exposed him years ago dealing with AIDS. Yeah, I will have to check her out. Judy Mikovich. I will have to check her out. Most certainly. Yeah, the whole AIDS thing, yeah, if that doesn't say man-made, I don't know what does. And that's when it came out that when COVID had similarities to HIV, I was like, oh, hell no. Hell no. And that's where I knew where Fauci was involved. Let's see. Because AIDS wasn't happenstance from some African dude and a monkey. Nah, not so much. AIDS didn't have the intended or expected result. Not even remotely. They intended the AIDS virus, the HIV virus, to just decimate people, and it didn't. I still, though, question and find it very interesting that Mr. Johnson got cured of it when he did. You know, yeah, I mean, you remember MAGIC, right? Yeah, MAGIC. It stands for My Ass Got Infected Coach. Yeah, that's MAGIC. Yeah, that guy, he somehow was miraculously cured. Okay, so I did a lot of that just so I could tell the joke. I mean, but hey. Let's see. Ukrainian gas executive has Biden bribe recordings, says U.S. Senator. That should be something kind of important. You have lived at ground zero living with that stuff, as in San Francisco or something? What do you mean, what do you mean with that? Let's see. Ukrainian combat vehicle crews surrender to Russia, says TASS. U.S. state to punish partisan book bans. That would be, Cape Cod. Okay. I guess they had a big HIV epidemic there, I assume. I have no idea. I know very little to nothing about the Northeast Coast. U.S. state to, partisan, that's Illinois, by the way. And I wonder what's going to happen when people reverse this. And I want to take this as a moment to remind people about the use of using fire to fight fire. So, the state of Illinois wants to defund public libraries that prohibit literature for political reasons. Okay. So are we bringing back Huck Finn? Or are we bringing back all of these censored books that the left wanted censored? That's how you put an end to this real quick. Use their rules against them, because the Dumbledore no toilet claiming governor that we have, he's not thinking very well. Because there's a whole lot of books that they enjoyed ripping out of people's hands that can now be put back into play. Let's see. China on gold buying spree, says Bloomberg. A Russian tech giant may retain NASDAQ listing. Serbia warns of escalation in Ukraine and Russia fighting. A German tank with Nazi emblem filmed fighting in Ukraine conflict. Let's see. Ukrainian counteroffensive might last for weeks, even months, says Macron. Key African economy to abandon dollar in trade with BRICS, says Reuters. Oh, I covered that one. Russian soldiers seize American Bradleys and German Leopard. Let's see. And the German Leopard, her name was Helga, and she was... No, I'm kidding. Ukrainian spy ring busted in Russia, says FSB. You think so, Kevin? As far as Russia watching their back with the Chinese... I actually, honestly, I agree with you there. I agree with you there wholeheartedly. I really don't think that I would trust either of those countries. I really don't. I really don't. I don't have anything against any Asian people of any kind, whether it's China, Taiwan, Korea, not at all. But I don't trust their leaderships. I don't trust the Philippine leadership. I don't trust the Japanese leadership, the Chinese leadership. You know, out of all the, and I know they're not Asian, but Russia's really the only one out of all these countries that I even remotely trust the leadership, and that's just a little bit. I wouldn't trust them as buddies or nothing, but I think Putin's a lot less sneakier than a lot of the rest of them. I think Putin is a much more upfront, direct kind of person. So, and I respect that. Some of the Asian governments are well known for being snakes. So, and again, it's not a reflection of the people, of the citizens. It's just the way the governments are. It's the type of government. Let's see. I always make that stuff real clear, because governments typically don't represent the people. That's normal. Let's see. U.S. Senator calls for probe into Ukraine aid. Russian ruble slips to one-year low against U.S. dollar. First fighter from Nordic state killed in Ukraine, says media. Yeah, they seem to have a pretty strict... Man, they're Orthodox Christianity. Wow, it's pretty crazy from what I can tell. I haven't really looked a lot into it. I kind of I consider the Vatican and their stances on a lot of stuff extreme. I just do. And I I think the Orthodox Russians, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're a little bit more extreme than like the Vatican, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I haven't really dove a lot into it, but they seem to be some pretty serious fellows. And I'm not necessarily knocking that. When I say things like that, seem pretty extreme. That's not. I want to make it clear. I'm not insulting. I'm extreme when it comes to my spirituality. I'm clearly extreme when it comes to my spirituality. That's a good thing. It's a good thing as long as you're not trying to do bad things with it. So. Let's see. Okay, here I am. Over 100 countries to attend St. Petersburg Economic Forum, says governor. EU to seal trade deal with South America, says von der Leyen. Washington set to give Kiev I covered that. West told us to kill as many Russians as possible, says Ukrainian defense minister. Polish PM defends state oil giant's purchase of Russian energy. Golden Globe Awards sold after string of scandals. And I normally don't share entertainment type of stuff, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Zelensky aid outlines counteroffensive ambitions. Good luck with that. Let's see. Another Ukrainian offensive repelled near Artemovsk, says Moscow. U.S. helicopter mishap wounds over 20 troops in Syria. Russia destroys rare Finnish armor in Ukraine, says media. Putin blasts Kiev's reverence toward Nazi collaborator. Macron asks for I covered that. Turkey to maintain block on Sweden joining NATO, says Bloomberg. UN reveals Russian oil supplies to North Korea. Kakhovka Dam disaster helped Ukrainian troops, says Putin. Trump appears at Miami courthouse. EU state New Ukraine plan to destroy Nord Stream, says the media. Egyptians to mummify man-eating shark, says media. I didn't even read into that. It just seems disturbing. Let's see. White House responds to witch hunt allegations. And that's it. That is the headlines. Quite a bit today. So, I expect the week to continue to be very newsworthy. And I don't know why, I just got that feeling that it's going to be a busy news week. So, on the Mel Gibson movie Part 2, I'm wondering which one you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about Passion of the Christ, Resurrection. That must be what you're talking about. Okay. That will be interesting. I enjoy watching those kind of movies myself, so. Anyway, I am going to get the heck out of here and relax. Who am I kidding? I'll be in bed by 9:45. I'll be like getting back out of bed to let Blue out another time because she's just a pain in the ass. So, okay, I'll tell you this before we leave. So here's the deal, right? You go to bed like any normal human being goes to bed. Except we don't go to bed like any normal human being. So we have our little nighttime ritual that we go through, which involves Jen getting gummies, and Blue even had some gummies, and so anyway, once we partake in the gummy ritual, then I let Blue out to go potty. Now, what happens is Blue goes out and potties. We get all ready for bed. We all get in bed. We all get real comfortable. And Blue's got this thing to where she'll come back in after she knows that I'm all comfortable, all kicked back. I've got the Netflix documentary or whatever on that I'm going to fall asleep to. And she'll come in the room and she'll just stare at me. Because the little shit's got to go out just one more time. And it's a game she plays with me like every night. It's almost every night, and it's awesome. We pick on her all the time. We constantly pick on her, and she constantly picks on us, and it is great. I'd never even, in a million years, I'd never believed that a dog could have the amount of personality, the amount of intellect, the amount of conscious thought that Blue has. She is just absolutely amazing, a blessing, an absolute blessing, and so I give her that. For all the crap that I give her throughout the day, her making me get up one more time to let her out, it's a drop in the bucket. So anyway, I am gonna get out of here so I can go prepare to deal with that. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this again. So I hope everybody has a good night. Hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom. Good night, folks.